Good morning, everyone. When you are surrounded by people who obviously have this spark of holiness, people who are definitely motivated to do holy things, even if you are weak, if you are imbued with the spark of holiness and prophecy yourself, you will become strong. In 2022, at the chief Levitical city, I take that back, at the chief Levitical settlement of the Levites in the world today, at a town called Unri. When you talk about the Levites, definitely you are talking about the land of Israel and the people of Israel. Unfortunately, ancient Israel was scattered, and the members of ancient Israel spread to all corners of the world, but they managed to congregate together in the place you know as Igbo land today. And that is why I said to you, in the chief settlement of the Levites, because it was in Igbo land that the structures, the traditions of ancient Israel, when I say ancient Israel, I mean Israel before the first temple, and from the period of the first temple to beyond the period of the second temple, it's in Igbo land that that the people of Israel managed to set up together those things they received from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Samuel, up to the prophet Isaiah. It is in the place called Igbo land that they managed to set them up. It is only in Igbo land where you go and you find a community inhabited 80% by people who are clearly Levites, who do the work that the Levites did in ancient Israel. Remember, the Levites were the doctors and the priests. It is in Igbo land that you find them functioning as priests and as doctors. If somebody commits suicide, the Igbos will not bury, the Igbos will not touch the body until a priest from one of those communities called Unri comes, carries out purifications. The body is then disposed in one of the places, one of the groves that house one of the sanctuaries. So, when you are surrounded by people that think about things like this, you find it very, very difficult to yield. In this particular community called Umri, in 2002, the elders of this community, I shared part of what they said. In 2004, they blessed me. They said, your peers are wandering the world looking for self-growth, but you are wandering the world trying to find a way to bring the people, our people, to bring the Igbo people out of the wilds which they have wandered into. The elders of the community, I'm talking about Levites, utter this prayer for me. They said, since this is what you are doing, trying to rescue a people that have missed the way, God will bless you. And God has blessed me. I'm one of the few people in the world who have railway tracks on their stomachs. From under my heart to very close to my boobies, you would find railway tracks. Surgery is grievous enough. And when I was already close to middle age, but what did God do? He pulled me up from the grave. So I have been blessed. And those prayers were answered. Now we have people who are doing exactly what I'm doing. So I find it difficult to stop. And we don't have the megaphones now, but we have the message. And whenever we feel that the messages that are not correct are shared, we have a responsibility to respectfully share the correct message. That was why I decided to correct a message that somebody who has an impact on the Igbo people shared. The Igbo people are not alone in the world, they are one of the people in the world, and they mix up with other peoples and they get messages from everywhere. But these people have a special role to play in history. So it's right that they have the correct message, and I'm now going to get to the meat of the matter. And I wrote it down. I said I get agitated by some teachings because of their potential disruptive impact on the Igbo people. Pastor Chris Oyahkilome is one of Nigeria's most influential pastors. He holds the views that you should take your wives as your first daughters. Pastor Chris Oyahkilome is from the Asian nationality, and let us face facts. Nigerian Christianity or Christianities are essentially tribal affairs. When you hear a Nigerian Christian preaching, he is also bringing up his traditions, his own traditions, and these are covered with the veneer of Christianity. I studied religion up to the highest level. I know what I'm telling you. When a Yoruba pastor is preaching to you, 99% of what he's giving you is Yoruba culture and religion, covered with the veneer of Christianity. So, according to Oyahkilome, you should take your wives as your first daughters, and to us as Igbos, this is not who our wives are. Our wives are our co-equals. The Igbo man and his wife are co-equals. Our daughters are not our equals. Our daughters are our children, and we are their superiors. We are not superior to our wives. This is very important. If we understand this, if we understand the role of our wives, we will eliminate much of spousal frictions that exist in the societies today. That is why I decided to give you this talk, and I'll end this talk by also addressing another pastor called Abel, Damina. He began to do some important work a few years ago in Nigeria. He began to cleanse Nigerian Christianity by trying to inform and probably educate and re-educate his peers that Christianity should be a force for good, not a force for amassing wealth. And he received a lot of support from so many quarters. But of late, he has waded into an area that he's not familiar with. He says that the state of Israel, as it exists today, has no connections to biblical Israel, and he's wrong. The Igbos are lineal descendants of the ancient Israelites. No less an institution than a Jewish Bedin has ruled that the Igbos are lineal descendants of the biblical Israelites. I repeat what I said. The Igbos are lineal descendants of the biblical Israelites. No less an institution than a Jewish court, a legal court. Any Jew that doubts what a legally constituted Bedin says goes against the very basis of Jewish law. The Jewish court has ruled that the Igbo people are lineal descendants of the Israelites, and nobody has dared to get up and say that the ruling is wrong. Because on what basis will you get up and say it's wrong? The Igbo culture as of today is the only culture that tells you exactly what Moses did. And the Igbo language is proving the same. But the Igbos are not acknowledged in the state of Israel due to negligence and carelessness, mistakes. But still, as one of the foremost scholars on this particular area of study, I'm telling Pastor Abel Damina that the state of Israel is connected to biblical Israel. Note, the Igbos have not been acknowledged in the state. So, if I'm to approach this subject as a human being that is selfish, I'll keep quiet while the delegitimization of the state stands. But I'm a prophet, an authentic prophet in the tradition of Moses. I cannot see falsehood and not challenge it. Abel Damina, the state of Israel is connected to biblical Israel. More will come. More will do what? More will come. Shalom, everyone.